Hi everyone, it's Matthew again. I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, the red cow, the Para Aduma, the star of this week's special mafter portion for Shabbat Para. Now, to be fair, the famous red cow of biblical times probably didn't look like this. Probably had to be reddish brown in color. And it was very special. Couldn't have ever worked a day in its life. Couldn't have any blemishes. Couldn't even have a single white or black hair. Very rare, very special, and used for something super important. This guy, or I guess the red cow, was used for a very important ritual that cleansed people who had been contaminated by being close to death. If you touched a corpse, or even any part of a dead body, or even if you were just in the same tent or room with a dead body, you were considered impure. So impure that you couldn't go anywhere near the temple, and you had to be purified. So this is what they did. The Kohen Gadol would take my friend and slaughter him outside the camp. In the times of the temple, this would all happen on the Mount of Olives, across from the temple site. Slaughter this cow and sprinkle some of its blood 7 times in the direction of the temple, or in the days of the Mishkan, the tent of meeting. The Kohen Gadol would do that. Then a second guy would come along, and he would burn the cow completely, all of it up. Throw in some cedar wood, some hyssop, some crimson yarn, burn the whole thing down to ashes. A third guy would come along and collect all these ashes. And then a fourth guy would take some of the ashes, combine them with mayim chayim, running water, then take a hyssop plant, dip it in the mixture, and sprinkle it on the affected people or on the affected tent. 3 days after the contamination, and again a week later, 7 days. And on the 7 days, and on the 7th day, the person or the tent would be pure. But here's the trick, and here's the part that fascinates the rabbis. The Kohen Gadol, the guy who burnt up the cow, the guy who collected the ashes, and the guy who administers the ritual, sprinkling with the hyssop plant, all 4 of them, by their participation, are rendered impure until evening. So this is the great mystery. The Para Aduma ritual makes the impure pure, but it also makes the pure impure. Do you ever think about when you have a finished product, a book, a car, a sandwich? Do you ever take time to think about what went into making that finished product? About the sacrifices that different people had to make along the way, spending time, spending money, putting in work, expertise, whatever, maybe rendering themselves along the way slightly impure, giving up something of themselves to be part of the process so that you or I, so that we could enjoy the finished product. I think there's a lesson about the Para Aduma, about that in the Para Aduma. Not to take for granted how many people have to put in literally blood, sweat, tears, their own time, their own work, just to create something that we enjoy. Think about that as you get ready for this week's Shabbat Para. Shabbat Shalom.